Good evening and welcome back to Across the Pitch. We're the soccer show for people who think Charlie Daniels sang The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Now, of course, there is a Charlie Daniels who sang The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but what you may not know is there's also a Charlie Daniels who's a veteran defender who now plays for Bournemouth, has also played for the Tottenham Hotspur, Gillingham, and Leyton Orient, among a few others. Now, if you haven't had a chance, I definitely recommend that you check out part 1 of this episode, which came out yesterday. That was our Phoenix Rising preview edition, entitled Luigi's Pizza, after Phoenix Rising defender Luigi Molla and the Phoenix Rising pie at the Venezia's Pizza that we spoke about yesterday. For those of you who are only interested in English football, part 2 is our normal run through the week of Premier League, League One, EFL, all the good stuff that you're used to on Across the Pitch. Arran and Matt will be back with me now, and thank you again for joining us again.
On tonight's show of Across the Pitch, the 371st most popular sports and recreation podcast on the UK Apple chart. That's right, we're 371st with a bullet. Matt Robards goes into hiding as we discuss a Sarri state of affairs ball in Chelsea. We go on an ornithological expedition and we discover that there is some life in some old black cats. But first, the Sarri tale of woe. You have to hit you have to hear about it. Mates, Chelsea, they're having a bit of a dumpster fire at the very present time, aren't they? They got dumped out of the FA Cup by Manchester United 2-0. Recent reports from, such award-winning newspapers as the Mirror in the UK say that Maurizio Sarri won't be changing his tactics. And clearly these are tactics that teams have gone and picked off. They know how to play Chelsea these days, and Chelsea is being played. They've lost 6-0 against Man City. Admittedly, there was a nice little 5-0 against Huddersfield, but that was a blip on an otherwise downward trajectory. I mean, even like the 2-1 win against Malmo away, not great, mates. All right, I'm going to put it to you. How long does Maurizio Sarri have? Does he have until this podcast comes out? Will we be talking about this on Saturday, saying we've gone and bested ourselves again because, yes, we said he was going to last till Sunday, and this is coming out on a Friday. So, yeah. Is he going to get sacked tomorrow, is what I'm saying.
No, he's not getting sacked tomorrow. He won't get sacked. Malmo at home should be a fairly easy victory. Malmo's in their preseason. The Swedish league isn't even in season right now. And so Malmo at home shouldn't be an issue. Then we have City in the League Cup. And the Wednesday after that, we play Spurs. So what I've been hearing is that Roman Abramovich will make a decision depending on what happens Sunday. From what I've read and who I'm kind of connected with via Twitter and Facebook is that if Chelsea fail to win the League Cup, Sarri will be gone either Monday or Sunday.
They've been known to sack managers immediately after games before as well.
Right.
It's not his fault. Well, it's not. Yes, it seems like Stamford Bridge has gone against him. That's the home ground for Chelsea. But there's more to it than that, isn't it? You've got what seems like a disinterested owner, which is Roman Abramovich. He's not even allowed into the UK at the moment, I believe, or he hasn't applied for a visa and hasn't seen a game all season.
Yeah, he doesn't have a visa right now. They're making him show that his money is clean, which means he's probably never coming back.
Yeah.
He's owning a club by proxy, and how does this happen? I don't understand how a team such a caliber as Chelsea, one of the richest teams in the world, how did they get into this situation?
You know what it is so the blame falls on everyone, the board, the players, and the manager. The board fired Michael Emenalo, who was a sort of director of football. Then he went to Monaco, never replaced him.
Right.
A board filled with bankers and lawyers, oil tycoons. Marina Granislava kind of comes out of that world. And so we don't have that footballing brain on the board that can really dictate what needs to happen. This is the vision for the club. And that leads to to kind of just appointments by name. And so we've bought players over the year. We've spent a lot of money on players for different managers. And so now we have this concoction of a squad that has been forced to play under different managers for the last couple seasons. And I think it's come to a head with Sarri. Now, where it lies on Sarri is, his inability to change. And, people will talk about how it's stubbornness, but I think it's an inability. He's only really ever been successful at the highest level at one club, and that was Napoli, and it worked there. His formation worked, and he never had to go back and go, okay, well, now it's not working, so what do I need to do to fix it? I don't think he knows what to do. I think this is just above his head.
You're 100% correct with that, Matt. I don't think he knows what to do because I don't know what the situation is in Napoli, but it seems like they're a club that have their act together over there, At Chelsea, I don't know what sort of influence he had. What's happening at Chelsea now is that he's got a squad and they keep buying him players, but it's like adding a BMW gas cap and putting it on his Chevy. Do you know what I mean? Like it seems like it's like they're patching up the squad, but with no actual coherence. And you're right, going back to what you said, I don't think they've got a football head in management there anywhere. They don't have this cohesive squad at the moment. They're all over the place, and I think the players probably have too much power as well, knowing that, these managers come and go.
Yeah, and I think that's at any football club these days. I think that's just modern football. The money that players are making, things are going badly. The team's always going to sack the manager. They're not going to look to offload because a lot of players are going to be looked at as what can they bring in? Shirt sales, advertisements, global marketing.
Right. I liken it to the Arsenal experiment. Both the teams are going through a transition this year. Arsenal, not a team. They will hastily fire a manager, as we know. Arsene Wenger was in there for 20-odd years. Do managers just not get enough time? Do they have to eke out these results and have a couple of bad years before they get moving again? People forget, when Alex Ferguson first took over Manchester United, he went 3 seasons without winning anything.
Right.
3 seasons. Could you imagine that happening to Manchester United today? And yet you go ahead and have a look at what happened with Manchester United underneath Alex Ferguson under all of those years. They're the most winningest team in history.
Yeah, so I think you're talking different times, right? I mean, when Sir Alex Ferguson took over, there wasn't the global reach that the EPL has. There wasn't the money that's involved that there is now. The longest tenured coaches now these days are it's significantly shorter.
Right.
You look at teams look at PSG. They're kind of another example. They want to win the Champions League, and they'll bring in a coach, and if they don't win the Champions League in a couple of years, that coach is gone.
Right.
They'll bring someone else in.
Pay $500 million to Neymar.
They'll spend a lot of money. I think with Chelsea, the success, us and United have been the most successful clubs in England the past 10 years. And so when you're bringing in coaches, but you're still winning, you're setting that example of, okay, we expect that if you're taking this job, that you understand what this means, that you are going to win.
Right.
There hasn't been a need to rebuild. Now we're getting to an interesting time because a lot of core players are approaching 30, 31. And so we were going to see a big turnover this summer anyways. And we have to make the decision now to say, are we going to stick with Sarri? Do we think that he can do this? He can handle this? Since we're going to have to turn over the players, is it a good time to just go ahead and end this experiment with Sarri and bring someone else in who can do this?
Yeah.
You make 2 good points there. The first being about the different times, and especially like you said with Chelsea being an older team, they may not quite have all the pieces, but they are a team that is built to win now. This isn't an up-and-coming team. This is an older team. And the way that teams are built now with all the international players and things like that, there really isn't necessarily that 3 years needed to build up. I mean, when Alex Ferguson took over, I mean, you talk about the class of 92. I mean, those guys were all rookies,
right?
At that point, and all those guys were actually English, came up through the Man United Academy. You don't have big 6 teams now that have 5 big rookies come up through the academy and have 3 years to grow into anymore. No, you're bringing in whoever scored 30 goals in Bundesliga last year or whatever.
Yeah.
Seems to me, though, that's not a very sustainable model.
That's the modern Premier League. I love the idea of developing academy talent, and it's just that with the way that things work, I mean, teams like PSGs, your Barcelonas, your Madrids, your Munichs, I mean, they run that format of just buying the most expensive and best players from around the world and bringing them in. So that's in turn made it so that the English teams, they can't just rely on English players anymore, certainly. And it's just the way that teams are built. If you're one of these 11 teams that was mentioned for that Super League or whatever, you're not building through your academy anymore. Callum Hudson-Odoi or Emil Smith-Rowe, I mean, these guys can't even get on the field. And
Right.
or look at Phil Foden in Man City. He was the best player in the FA Cup game, but when's the last time you saw him even play in the Premier League?
Right. You're just speaking to a different time right now. And so, speaking specifically about Chelsea again, what has happened the last 10 years where, honestly, the worst thing that could have happened last year for Chelsea might have been Antonio Conte winning the FA Cup, because even struggling in the league and even having his players kind of dislike what he was doing, he still produced a trophy.
Right.
So they're looking at Sarri and going, okay, you need to produce a trophy. This is the standard that we've set. It has always been this for Chelsea Football Club. You need to come in and get us to top 4. That's the bare minimum requirement to keep your job. If it doesn't look like we're going to be promoted, we're going to sack you, and we're going to bring in someone who maybe can turn that around. And I think that's where we're at. And my gut feeling, I'm not a Sarri out person. I really want to end this whole system of just getting rid of a manager every 2 years. But I just don't think so. Sarri lost a lot of my respect when they played United in the FA Cup.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, so you guys know in our group chat, I texted out what 3 substitutions were going to be made, and I was right about 2 of them.
You got 2 out of 3.
And the one I missed,
for Pedro, Barkley for Kovacic.
Right.
Yeah.
And the one I missed was he brings on Zappacosta for Azpilicueta.
Bizarre.
Say that 5 times fast.
A like for like right back substitution, and you're down 2 goals. You need to score. This is where I said he can't change. At that point, what any other manager would have done is they would have gone to a back 3, they would have pulled off their right back, and they would have put on Hudson-Odoi, Giroud, someone to get up there and try to score goals. Because at 2-0 down, if you give up a third, at least pushing to equalize, a goal and an equalizer, well, then you've given up a third. You didn't lose anything.
Tournament, too, it's not like you're playing for goal differential.
Right. But when you throw in a right back for a right back, you're kind of saying to the fans and to the board and to the players, I don't think we can even overcome this. Or I'm so stubborn, I'm not going to change.
Does he even want the job?
You know what, man? I don't know.
I mean, that was such a bizarre substitution. You're right, Matt. When you're 2-0 down, you go and throw on your attacking players. You might go down 3 or 4-0, but whatever, you're still going to lose anyway, but at least you went out trying. And I think that's what Chelsea fans wanted. They wanted to see him go out trying.
Yeah, we want to see that fight.
That wasn't happening. It was almost like, you're right, he just threw in the towel. I don't know. I would be exceptionally frustrated as a Chelsea fan. I'm not, so I'm actually kind of enjoying this.
I think the biggest thing for me is when you hear Sarri talk, it's all about my football.
Right.
We're not playing my football, or I want to play my football, my football, my football. And I'm sorry, man, but this is Chelsea Football Club. You're Maurizio Sarri. You did an amazing thing. You weren't a professional footballer. You were a banker who got into coaching and worked his way up to become the coach at one of the largest clubs in Europe. And that's an amazing story in and of itself.
Sure.
But you're not bigger than Chelsea Football Club. And so this isn't about your football. This is about our football. This is about what we've done, where we're going. Bottom line is the club's going to be here long after he's gone.
Right.
And so that's why for me, it's like, I'm not sorry out because I really want this cycle to end, but it's hard to be Sarri in. I guess you could say I'm just kind of out there. I'm going to cheer and I'm going to support whoever throws on a Chelsea shirt and gets out onto the pitch. It's tough right now, man. And I think Sunday, Monday, we could be looking at a caretaker manager.
Just on that, I want your thoughts on whom that might be, because we've discussed this, as you mentioned, on our group chat. Frank Lampard wouldn't touch it with a pole. There's been Zinedine Zidane, who's been linked with the job. Would he want to have that? And you also mentioned someone else as well.
I think what you're talking is really two different things.
Right.
Being that it's February, almost March, I don't think Chelsea's going to bring in a permanent coach right now.
Right.
You know, if anything, where you'd be looking to appoint someone like a Zinedine Zidane or even a Frank Lampard in May once the season has ended. You know, obviously Frank Lampard's at Derby County doing a job there. He's focused on getting them promoted.
Right.
We're going caretakers. Realistically, probably what's going to happen is it's going to be Gianfranco Zola.
Right, yes.
Which I loved him as a player, but he has not been successful as a coach. I don't think that would be a good move. If anyone out there associated with Chelsea, if Bruce Buck, chairman of the Chelsea board, is listening to this for some reason, give me a call. I have an idea.
Why wouldn't he be?
Right?
We're 371st.
You know, Roman Abramovich out there on your super yacht somewhere in the Baltic Sea or wherever you're at. Give me a call. I think the best person to bring in would be Steve Holland.
Steve Holland, that was the one.
Chelsea assistant manager for a long time, was the backbone of really that coaching staff as managers came in. And so I think he'd be a great person to come. He knows the culture of the club. He knows the history. He's been around guys like John Terry and Frank Lampard and Drogba and Peter Cech. Right. So he understands what it means to play for Chelsea. And right now he's the assistant manager for England. And so I think it would be easily negotiated with the FA because they're not doing much right now. And so that would be my pick. Let's bring in Steve Holland, caretaker manager. Maybe he'll take us to Europa League glory or fourth place so we can qualify for Champions League, because bottom line, that's a lot of money, and that's how you attract players and big names, and that's my vote, Steve Holland.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's probably a sensible one. And you're right, you're still in 2 competitions at this point. 3 is probably being a bit generous, although you are only 1 place.
No, they're in 3 competitions.
But realistically, the chance of winning all 3 of them is probably going to be very, very unlikely this year. Chelsea are still only 1 point off 4th place.
Right.
The season's not over and done with for the Blues. It's going to be a bit of a difficult turnaround, however, if you do lose that one on Sunday.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the Premier League, and we also did want to go and touch on some of the other leagues in England tonight. There's an exciting race that's heating up in League One, as well as the EFL Championship.
All across the leagues, Phil. All across the leagues. It's wonderful.
Yes, I mean, even if you look down to League Two,
I do want to have a little touch on Luton, because aren't they just killing it?
Well, they are, man.
The Hatters, they are having some kind of a season.
Unbelievable. 71 points. They're 5 points clear of their nearest rivals. Barnsley on 66 points. Those 2, for my money, are probably going up. And Sunderland, they've had a little bit of a tough stretch. They're still certainly in the hunt to go up, and I wouldn't put the house against the Black Cats going up this season.
I don't believe that they've lost a home game all year in League One.
No, they haven't. No, you're right. Luton and Sunderland, funny enough, one of 4 teams that have not lost a home game this season. The other one being Liverpool, and I still can't remember.
I think Barnsley.
Is it Barnsley? Oh, okay, that's really interesting.
Luton, Barnsley, Sunderland, and Liverpool are the 4 teams in the English League that haven't lost a home game yet this season. Sunderland, now, I mean, these guys have enough draws to get an art school degree.
Oh, Phil. You're right. They've had 14 draws this season, so it doesn't mean they are winning at home, because that's a different concept altogether, but they haven't lost any at home. That was kind of the problem why they went down last year too. They weren't winning enough. They were drawing very, very frequently, but they weren't winning enough. As it is right now, they're 3 wins behind Barnsley. Barnsley's 19 wins over the season. Sunderland is 16. Sizable gap. That's 4 points there.
I think Luton's locked in for an automatic promotion this year.
They look great, don't they?
3 full games clear. Neither team has any games in hand. So, yeah,
There is 46 games in League One. This is a long season.
Right.
So 13 games to go. But I think Luton, just the way they've been playing, the way they look at home, 66 goals scored.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
28 conceded. That's a 38 goal difference. They're going up to the championship, and it'll be real fun to watch them next year in the championship for sure.
And remember, they've got a caretaker coach this year as well, haven't they?
That's an interesting point to bring up. They are on that caretaker manager, so they got that little bit of a boost, and that's propelled them on this run they've been on. And their former manager, who went over to Stoke City, is kind of struggling right now. They're sitting at 17th place.
He went to Stoke. What's he thinking? Come on, Stoke's a sinking ship. The SS Stoke is sinking faster than the Titanic. They're awful.
I've drawn their past 2 games.
Oh, well, good. Against Ipswich Town and Wigan Athletic, and they didn't score against Wigan. So they're doing real well. They're doing great, aren't they?
They got that -7 goal difference. It's always a good thing.
Nothing to get stoked about, but, you know.
We got a tight race, too, in the championship.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
I mean, you have Sheffield United in 2nd place, and then Nottingham Forest in 8th place are only separated by 14 points.
And Leeds spying seems to have ended because they've seemed to have hit a bit of a run of late where they're not quite getting the results they wanted. 1-1 against Middlesbrough. They lost against fellow title hopes Norwich 3-1. Yeah, interesting. It's going to be a really interesting season there for the championship.
Yeah, so 13 more matches to go over there, and it's a tight race for those promotion spots for sure.
Bristol City's been on quite of a winning streak, too. They're making some noise. I would say watch out for Bristol City. They seem to be peaking at the right time of the season.
Yeah. You got to look all the way. I would say just with the time that's left, anyone sitting... I mean, really, if anyone gets on a run in some of these lower mid-table positions, Aston Villa, Hull, Swansea could really make pushes for those promotion playoffs.
Yep, absolutely. But not Stoke.
No, not. I think once you get down to 16, Brentford, Stoke, and QPR sitting at 39 points.
Probably Swansea, I'm going to say they're the cutoff point.
Kind of 13.
You're probably right. I'm surprised Swansea, they played very well in the FA Cup on the weekend. I'm surprised they're not doing better in the league there.
The championship is out of the 4 leagues. I want to say that the championship has the most parity from top to bottom. I mean, other than Ipswich.
Poor Ipswich.
Yeah, they've had a rough year this year.
They have. Down in League 2, Lincoln City's looking pretty good. Mansfield and Bury. MK Dons still in the hunt there. Newport County, our new favourite team, after they went down gallantly, I have to say, against Manchester City in the FA Cup over the weekend. I believe they got a win as well.
Yeah, it was a big 4-1 over Notts County yesterday. Our friend Porrick Almond had another goal yesterday. There was also a fantastic bicycle kick goal by Newport in that game. It slips my mind who scored that, but definitely check out the highlights. Newport really took it to Notts County, who had been on a bit of a run, but that loss... keeps them in the basement of League 2. Still, that being said, right now they're 7 points behind Morecambe, who would be the last team that's just above the relegation zone. So Notts County has some work to do if they're going to avoid getting sent down to non-league. Right now, Macclesfield, Yeovil, and Port Vale are the other 3 teams that would get relegated at this point.
Full points on the pronunciation of those teams. By the way, he meant Morecambe, and they're in 20th. Sorry, Phil. Anyway. Yes, Notts County probably not looking the greatest to stay up, despite it was just refresh my memories here, lads. Was this the one I was going to sing the Michael Bolton song for?
Oh, no, the Michael Bolton song, that is if Cardiff manages to stay in the Premier League, then you're going to sing Michael Bolton.
Right.
If Cardiff gets relegated, I don't recall, what do I have to do? Do I have to sing a Michael Bolton song?
Sure.
There it is, folks. Cardiff City. If they get relegated, I will be singing Michael Bolton. If they stay up in the Premier League, Arran will be singing Michael Bolton. And regardless of what happens, Matt will be laughing.
I will for
Or
sure
cringing.
be laughing at that.
Probably cringing in the corner.
How about no matter what happens, I get to pick the Michael Bolton song?
Oh.
Oh.
This isn't fair.
If Chelsea wins the EFL Cup, then you can pick the Michael Bolton
Oh,
song.
All
there we
right.
go. There we go.
How about if they don't lose by 6?
Fair enough.
Hey guys, it's time for Mourinho Watch. I'm hoping I can. I tell you what, Phil, it is the frickin' Twilight Zone. First off, he said Juventus are going to go and win the Champions League, and obviously he didn't watch the game today. Secondly, he's climbed into bed with a long-time rival, none other than the specialist in failure, Arsene Wenger. And I'd have to say Mourinho is probably now a specialist in gaslighting. Arsene Wenger has won a Lifetime Achievement Award, and whilst receiving the award, none other than Jose Mourinho appeared via video and called him the best manager in the world. I don't know, he must be having some serious hallucinogenics in his little sabbatical from coaching, because, I wouldn't call him that.
He got some of that European absinthe, I think.
Yes, the absinthe has come up again in my life. That's bizarre.
We do have a very, very special announcement to make. Coming up this weekend, we do have a special episode that we're going to be recording. We're going to be talking with author and Accrington Stanley historian Darren Woodhead. Now, Darren has recently compiled a book called 50 Years of Accrington Stanley, 50 Years at the Crown Ground. This commemorates 50 years since the team was refounded and 50 years since they began playing at the Crown Ground, which is, of course, now known as the Wham or Wembley Stadium, if you will.
Wembley. I love it.
Wembley. We're going to be talking with Darren about this book that he's written. On Sunday, we're going to sit down and chat with him a bit about the making of the book. As the months coming by leading up to the release of the book, we're going to talk to Darren a few more times and make sure that you know everything that you need to know before the book comes out. Right now, if you want to pre-order a copy, you can go to onstanleyon.com, which is the official Accrington Stanley supporters website. You can order the book with shipping to the US for £12, which works out to about $16 US. Of course, you can also order it in England. I believe it's £11, including shipping, or £9 if you're in the Accrington area and pick it up at the stadium. But this is really going to be the most comprehensive look at the club that there really ever has been, and this is actually Darren's third book about the team, and we couldn't be more excited to sit down and hear everything that he has to tell about Stanley and the making of the book, and compiling all the information and the history of the team. So lots of great stuff coming up, and once again, that's Darren Woodhead. You can actually find him on Twitter. His Twitter page is Memories Stanley, at Memories Stanley is where you can find him on Twitter, and he does also have a Facebook group called My Accrington Stanley Memories that you can join, and there's all kinds of good things that come through in that group, vintage pictures of the team, and really where all the hardcore Stanley fans go is this Stanley Memories group on Facebook.
Looking forward to that interview. He's a really interesting character, this one. He's an engineer. He's an aeronautical engineer, if I'm saying that correctly. He works on aeroplanes. He works for aerospace over there, and his love is for Accrington Stanley. He's almost single-handedly kept this club alive. I think he's catalogued the history of this club all the way along. Really looking forward to having a chat to him.
And one other thing is Accrington also announced today that they're auctioning off one jersey per player from the FA Cup run. So these are actually game-worn shirts. There's one available from each player. Starting bid is £75, and the proceeds from the auction go to Accrington Stanley Supporters Club. So if you are looking to own a piece of Accrington Stanley history, bid on these jerseys. Please just don't bid on Scott Brown because I'm getting that one.
You're getting the special unwashed version of the Scott Brown jersey. Lads, I have exciting news in across the pitch news desk. Maurizio Sarri has announced his substitutions for the next game. And guess what? It's Ross Barkley on for Kovacic and Willian on for Pedro. And with that bombshell, to use a Top Gear terminology, I think we'll call the night, lads.
Yeah, I think that's about all I had tonight. What else did you have, Matt?
I'm with Arran here. I think by the time we're recording next week, Chelsea's going to have a caretaker manager. Win or lose, up the Blues. You guys know it. Whatever happens with your club, it's your club, and you're going to support it no matter what.
And I think that the only other thing that I wanted to close out with is just to go back to where we started off, which is with the Phoenix Rising, and we're all very excited for the upcoming season. Once again, the first home game, as we've mentioned several other times, is March 16th, coming up against New Mexico United. We've already got our tickets, and we're going to be out there. Thank you all again, as always, for joining us here on Across the Pitch. We've enjoyed having a chance to talk about the Phoenix Rising and all things English and American Association football with you. We will be with you for the special episode that's recording Sunday, and then again at our normal time next week. As always, for my brother from down under, Aaron Ayres.
Good night.
Mr. Wizard, Matt Robards.
Have a good one.
Have a great evening, folks.